Hi there, I'm Rosetree. This is not me. This is one of the things I have created that might help you. This offers you consumer smarts that work now in the age of awakening. You know, many of us have been influenced by ideas from success coaches or from law of attraction prosperity experts that have promised us a lot. And many people are working so hard, struggling to get that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. This is an unusual bunch of knowledge and skills and aura reading research in the covers of this book. The reason why I wrote it was because I had friends who were driven to the verge of bankruptcy because they were working so hard to do law of attraction and success practices. And I just got angry. And I wound up going forth and doing aura reading research, which you may know is one of the specialties in this field where I work for long, Rosetree Energy Spirituality, for short, RES. I researched hundreds of people's auras. I researched big experts like Esther Hicks, and I researched her when she was channeling Abraham in a photo, so I got to research Abraham, and I researched Rhonda Byrne, and I researched Napoleon Hill. I researched a lot of the world-famous experts from their photos. And I also researched auras of the little people. In other words, people like you and me, people who are just doing the best we can and trying to make life work and trying to have success and prosperity. I made use of a site you may be familiar with, meetup.com, and I found experts who were just not the big fancy experts, but working experts. I read 50 of those experts who were teaching law of attraction. I read, just for contrast, I read auras of 50 people who, for the love of God, were teaching Christian fundamentalist groups that included maybe beliefs about seed money. I researched the 50 wealthiest Americans. Thank you, Forbes 500 list website thingy. And I researched the 50 wealthiest people in the world, as well as the ones in America. I was really curious, what characteristics do people have that really can correlate with making money? And what shows up in the auras of people who are working so hard to make law of attraction help them, the Abers, etc.? What happens? What really happens? And what I found out was kind of shocking, but true. And I was able to develop a program for becoming financially successful and professionally successful that, instead of throwing a person's aura out of whack, helps a person to grow. So in this book, you will find lots of bits of research summarized for you, a more practical kind of aura reading that you might be used to, the Magnetize Money profiles. You'll also find some really practical things that you can do to be making a lot more money. A lot of practical things you can do now. And if you're one of those people who knows about the new strong, and you know about the idea in RES that since we live in this age of awakening now, we're better off keeping our technique time to 20 minutes a day, tops. If you happen to know this, then you may find it interesting that the recommendations in this book do not include any technique time. You can be doing one thing at a time that interests you, and then later do something else, whether it's the many goal-setting strategies that are in here that are very practical, or these ways to do things like balance your giving and receiving, and how to tell friends from enemies that have made a very, very big difference. Only a couple of weeks ago did I have, for example, a client, I will call her Gladys. Some of my clients are Joe and some are Gladys. I was doing a session with Gladys, and it had been maybe 5 months since we were in session. And one of the things she casually mentioned in the session was, it's been going really well at work. And in fact, they just gave me a $25,000 bonus. I have lots of stories like that have come to me from people who wanted to thank me for how well they've been doing. I'm not promising you a $25,000 bonus, but I am telling you that if you do play with this book, experiment with this book, use what I compiled for the benefit of you and other normal people, not 1%ers, I think you'll be really glad that you did. And certainly, you're invited to go onto my website, rosetree.com, and sample this book, because it could make a huge and comfortable difference for you.